WYTPod, the online community for e-commerce business owners and entrepreneurs. And today we have a very special guest, and she is the owner and founder of Helen Lavette Consulting and HelenLavette.com. And her name is Helen Lavette. Helen, thanks a lot for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. Thank you for having me today. I'm really happy to be here.
It's really great to have you. So, um, just to help our viewers get to know you a little better, would you mind sharing a bit of your background?
Sure. So I am an esthetician. I've been an esthetician for the last 9 years now. Prior to doing so, I was teaching science. I was a science instructor. I have a degree in biology, and so science is my passion. Initially, I wanted to, take a stab at medical school, and it didn't work out. And once I started teaching, I kind of took a stab at like doing makeup, and that was fun. But I had a deeper passion to wanting to know more about people's skin. So that's how I became an esthetician. Now, what I do is I teach people about how to take care of their skin, because believe it or not, it's a science behind it all. Even with makeup, it's a science behind it all. And so that's the passion that I have, is helping people understand not only what's going on with your skin, but why it's happening and what you need to do to correct it. And outside of that, I have a studio where I perform skincare treatments, makeup, um, lash extensions, and other beauty enhancements.
Great. So I think obviously, people's self-esteem and everything is really tied up with their appearance and their skin especially. So if someone can improve their skin, then it probably helps their self-confidence quite a bit, I imagine.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. For sure. The first thing people look at when they see you is your face. So, it I think it's a underrated asset. And as an entrepreneur or as someone who is in a leadership role constantly in front of people, it is definitely something that you have to take into consideration when it comes to your everyday image. I think
It must
people
be, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think people, when they think image, sometimes they automatically think style and clothing or maybe hair. They tend to forget about your skin, your makeup, and things of that nature.
Yeah. I mean, you can dress yourself up and everything, but then if your skin's a mess, how much does it help? So I think it's commendable if you're doing that. And I guess it must be really rewarding when you get a client and you help them improve their skin, and then they feel better about themselves. That must be really rewarding.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Good stuff. All right, now, you know, a lot of people say, well, I'll start an e-commerce business and I'll sell things online. And starting an e-commerce business is actually much more difficult than most people realize. So can you just share some of the challenges that you faced when you got started and how you overcame them?
So, starting an ecom business, it is definitely different from when you have like a brick and mortar. And I think for me, the most difficult thing was to figure out my target market. And when you're building organically and you have a small budget, it's very few ways that you can do that. The market testing. A lot of times it requires a bigger budget so that you can run ads. I've been in business for some time now, and I've just gotten to the point where I figured the whole ads thing out. So it took time. It took time just for me to understand exactly who I was marketing to online, in order for them to buy the products and the services.
Right. So who are you marketing to? What's your core market?
My core market are entrepreneurs, women who are constantly on camera, or content creators, people whose image affects their profession to a certain extent, like salespeople, people who are actors and models. I have a lot of those clientele as well.
Yeah. And social media is so huge. I mean, that must be a very fertile market for you.
I had to find my niche exactly. Once I found my niche, it became a lot easier.
All right, cool. So I know that you offer beauty services, yes, but also image coaching and training. What would you say separates your offerings from the competition's?
I feel like my background, with me having such a strong understanding of the science behind it all, it gives me a little bit more leverage to educate the client and not just sell to the client. It gives me the opportunity to connect with them more too through educating them so that I can understand their needs better.
I would imagine that once you demonstrate a grasp on science for people, it'll give you a lot more credibility. People will trust you a lot more. I would
For
guess.
sure. It helps. It definitely helps. That way I'm able to answer any questions that they may have or any doubt they may be having.
Great to have that in your pocket. All right, cool. So finally, are there any pearls of wisdom that you'd like to pass along to entrepreneurs who have just started in the e-commerce game?
I would say just trust the process. Um, I think sometimes we make it more difficult than what we have to. You don't have to do everything on your own. You can outsource things that you don't know, and it allow you to focus on the things that you do know or what you are passionate about, and it's a lot less draining. It took me some time to figure that out. And then once I started outsourcing different tasks, things became a whole lot easier for me. And I was able to focus on the things that I wanted to focus on better. And my brand started to grow.
Well said. You know, that's a common theme, I think, with a lot of entrepreneurs that I speak to, is that once they, figured out that they can trust some other people to do things for them, it made life
Yeah.
easier. And it's hard
Yeah.
to trust, I guess, and let go, especially when it's your baby, your vision that you created. So I'm glad to know you got that figured out. That's great.
Yeah, but outside of the trusting, I know, starting out sometimes people don't have a lot of money for certain things. The budget is smaller. But even with doing that, there's ways around that. Like with marketing, I knew that I needed help, but I couldn't exactly afford a virtual assistant or an actual assistant or whatever. So I hired an intern. And so that was helpful. I was able to focus on some other things while she was doing things for me. We both benefited from the relationship. So sometimes you have to think outside the box. And then once I was able to start paying her, she started doing my marketing for me. So there are ways to get around the things that you need. You just have to be patient, trust the process, and think outside the box.
Wow, well said. That's a happy story.
Yeah.
That worked out for both of you. Exactly how do you market?
A lot of it now is online. But for my studio here locally in Atlanta, Georgia, it's word of mouth mainly.
That's the best business to get, really, isn't it? That's what
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Word
mean.
of mouth. It never goes away. Like that's I feel like that says highly, speaks highly of your services.
Yeah. And it just seems like when you get business that way, your clients are better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, Helen, thanks again for joining us today. It's been informative and a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks a lot.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing how it comes out.
It's going to be aces, I'm sure.
Bye
Thanks a lot.
bye.